Hi, everyone. So today we're going to review figurative language. So in our presentation that covers literary elements, we're going to go ahead and click on figurative language to review it. So figurative language are descriptions or phrases that are not meant to be taken literally. Okay? So there are words that are being manipulated for an artistic purpose. And those words or phrases may not mean what it looks like they should, or they mean more than what they look like. And figurative language is broken into several categories. So the most important thing to remember is the words are not meant to be taken literally. They mean something else. So let's go back and look at our different types of figurative language. We first have a metaphor, which should be familiar to you. Let's review it. It's a direct comparison between two unlike things, but it does not use the words like or as. So it's used to point out a similarity between the two things that is not immediately obvious. And then sometimes the metaphor is implied, which means that you're not necessarily always given the two things being compared. You have to figure out what those two things are. And our example for metaphor, life is a roller coaster full of ups and downs. So in that example, we have life being compared to a roller coaster. And then that meaning behind it, in life you have difficulties that are your downs and celebrations, which are your ups. The next type is a simile, which again you should be pretty familiar with, but it's a comparison with two unlike things using like or as. So remember that difference between a metaphor and a simile. Similes use like or as, metaphors do not. But that comparison using like or as is in order to emphasize one particular aspect that the two things have in common. It can also be used to make you look at the things being compared in a new way. So there's an example, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So that quote from Forrest Gump is a perfect example of a simile. So that idea when you get a mixed box of chocolates, when you bite into it, you don't know what you're going to get. Same thing with life. You never know what's going to happen. And then our third type is personification. So in personification, it's giving human traits to non-human things. So basically an object that has some sort of human trait. So the example for personification, the sun is smiling down on the world. We have to find our non-human thing, which is sun. And what human trait is it given? Smiling. Really, it's telling us the sun is shining. That's our meaning behind it. When it's smiling down on the world, it's out and it's shining. Awesome. And then finally, we have hyperbole as our second to last term. Hyperboles are a lot of fun because it's just an exaggeration. You're trying to prove a point by exaggerating something. So, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Yes, you're hungry, but you're probably not going to eat an entire horse. Okay? Or often I caught a fish, this big, and someone like stretches out their hands to show how big the fish was. Bit of an exaggeration. Okay. And then our last one, which is symbol or symbolism. It's a person, place, or thing that represents an abstract idea or concept. So it's basically a noun that represents something, an object that represents something. So it could be traditional. So a traditional object could be a rose, which would symbolize like love. It could be the flag, and if we're looking at the American flag, it could represent freedom, independence. And then It should say wedding ring, but a wedding ring symbolizes loyalty, commitment, also could be love, okay? Or it could be something that's an original symbol, which could be like Harry Potter's scar, that symbol of his past, his mother's love, his connection to having to save the wizarding world. There are lots of different symbols there. All right, so now that we've looked at symbolism, we're going to go ahead and continue with our assignment.